Yes, I am Maricruz Gutierrez, and I am the Black Fellow in Chicano Art. And my site was at the Mexican Museum located at the San Francisco, which was 7 weeks, and I spent my last week at Los Angeles. So the Mexican Museum was established by a resident, San Francisco resident and local artist, Peter Rodriguez, in 1975. Right now it's located at the Fort Mason Center. Originally it was at Mission District, which is a predominant area of Latino community. And his vision was to really have an exhibition of Mexican and Mexican American artworks. So, and today it actually has expanded to Latin American and Chicano art, and it holds about 14,000 objects. Oh yes, and that's my site mentor, David de la Torre. My first project is called, that I worked on, was Diálogos Gráficos, Graphic Dialogues from Posada to Present. And this project, as I began to work on it, I am really fortunate that I took Professor Hubler's class this past year, because it gave me the background information about Mexican printmaking and muralism and everything about it. So it became from early 20th century, from Posada. He was the one who kind of was the founder and the father of printmaking in Mexico. And his iconic symbol is La Catrina, which became later on an influence to contemporary and Chicano artists. And this is a picture of the museum. So my job was to get background information, do labelings of the prints, and help design with the artworks at the exhibition, which is right now on display. My other project, which was smaller, I got to spend time at the registers, which is behind the scenes. So they came, it's a permanent collection called the Rex May, and I was in charge of getting them out of the boxes, knowing their condition, documenting everything, and photographing. So as you may see, they're really tiny, and the whole set. And yes, that is my work area, which I spend most of my time with other interns about the exhibition and the collections. My other project, which was more independent, and it's mostly primarily of my fellowship, which I chose, is to conduct interviews of Chicano and Chicana artists that were from the 1960s till today. Many of them were participating in the Chicano art movement. The Chicano term is really complex, and but primarily it is Mexican Americans who identify their indigenous heritage, but also have a social political component in the United States. And so the way I did the documentation was through doing background information about them, their lives, and how they have contributed to society. So I took my camera, set it up, had already questions prepared for them, and it went from 30 minutes to even 5 hours, which was great. And here is Chicano, one of the, I guess, the core from the 1960s, Malaquias Montoya, and here is Rio Yanez, a more contemporary Chicano artist. And the one to the left is Juan Arfuentes. And so the skills that I required were more professional, was in the work culture of getting to know what it is to like and work on the museum. And another thing that I experienced was that the museum right now, it's relocating to a bigger museum in downtown. And so that was quite a little bit overwhelming, but I managed. Also the curatorial experience and time management. I think that was a great challenge, because especially in Los Angeles, my last week, I had no knowledge of the city, and coming from a small town, I had to figure out transportation-wise, rely other than public transportation, look at other plan B, plan C, and making sure that I was on time, and also interviewing artists. At first, I was quite really nervous because I didn't know what to expect of them. I was no professional. I'm just an undergraduate, but as time went on, I got more comfortable. They got more comfortable with me because they started speaking more Spanish and English with me. And I also was successful to get some networking skills, such as Judith Hernandez. She offered her help for future references, help with anything. And also that prepared me more knowledge to the subject if I decide to go into study more into that field. And it's more the interest. So acknowledgements, I would like to thank my site supervisor, David De La Torre, and my advisor, Professor Ellen Hubler, who right now is in Chicago teaching. And my donors, which is Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie W. Black. And lastly, I would like to thank all the artists that I interviewed, because I hope that all these interviews serve as documentation and leave it here at the campus for future students to do research.